Stop scrolling, because Charleston White just made a prediction about Lil Durk and AllStar Jr. that could look completely crazy, until you realize both cases are landing in the courtroom this month. And I'm not saying they're getting out. I'm saying Charleston White is saying it. His prediction? Both Lil Durk and AllStar Jr. beat their cases in August. Now, before somebody jumps in the comments screaming, "That's impossible," slow down, because this is where the story gets interesting. Lil Durk's federal murder-for-hire trial is scheduled to begin August 20th, while AllStar Jr. is also facing a federal gun case stemming from the Houston shooting investigation. These are not internet rumors about cases that might happen someday. The courtroom calendar is real. But here's the part nobody should miss. Charleston White isn't predicting one upset. He's predicting two. And that changes the conversation completely. Because when you hear, "beat the case," people automatically start thinking somebody already knows something behind the scenes. But that's where we have to separate speculation from reality. There is currently no verified evidence proving that either man is guaranteed to walk free. What we do know is that the legal stakes are enormous, the trials are approaching, and Charleston White has publicly put his prediction on the record. So now the question becomes, is Charleston White seeing something the public isn't seeing? Or is he about to make one of the boldest predictions in rap news this year? Because if both men actually walk out of these courtrooms without convictions, people are going to replay this prediction differently. And trust me, that's the part you're going to want to watch. Listen closely, because the next few weeks could become one of the most talked about stretches in rap and courtroom news. And Charleston White has put his prediction on the table. He says AllStar Jr. and Lil Durk will both beat their cases this month. That is a bold statement, especially when you look at what is actually scheduled to happen in August. But here is where this story gets interesting. There are real courtroom dates, real legal battles, and real developments that make people wonder whether White is simply making a wild prediction or whether he believes the public is missing something. Let me walk you through what we actually know, because the internet is already moving faster than the facts. First, Lil Durk is heading toward a federal trial in Los Angeles. His trial is scheduled to begin August 20th, 2026, according to recent reporting, after the judge granted his request to separate newly added racketeering-related counts from the upcoming proceedings. That ruling was a significant pre-trial development because it narrowed the issues that prosecutors are expected to present in the August trial. It does not mean Durk has been cleared, and it absolutely does not mean the judge declared him innocent. It means certain allegations will be handled separately. Durk has pleaded not guilty, while prosecutors allege he was involved in a murder-for-hire scheme connected to the 2022 shooting that killed Xavier Robinson, the cousin of Quando Rondo. Those allegations remain allegations until proven in court. Now look at AllStar Jr., because his courtroom timeline is also landing directly in August. His federal firearm trial was moved from July to August 31st, 2026, after his attorney requested additional time to prepare the defense. Prosecutors have accused Jr., whose legal name is Jeremy Christopher Ford, of being a felon in possession of a firearm in connection with an alleged Houston restaurant shooting involving NBA Ben 10. Again, the charges are allegations, not convictions. The defense still has the opportunity to challenge the government's evidence, question witnesses, and present its own case. So when Charleston White says both men will beat their cases, understand exactly what that means. He is making a prediction about outcomes that have not happened yet. And this is where you should stop and think. Two separate defendants, two separate federal cases, two different courtroom battles, and both trials are scheduled within the same month. That creates a perfect storm for social media. Every hearing, motion, witness development, courtroom exchange, or unexpected legal ruling can become a headline within minutes. One ruling can completely change the mood online. One piece of evidence can dominate the conversation. One defense argument can suddenly have everybody asking whether the case is stronger or weaker than they originally believed. That is why Charleston White's prediction is getting attention. He is not simply talking about one celebrity case. He is putting two high-profile predictions together and betting that both outcomes will surprise people. But here is the twist. Nobody outside the courtroom can honestly guarantee that prediction. Not Charleston White, not a YouTuber, not a commentator, and certainly not a viral post. Trials are decided through evidence, legal arguments, jury decisions, and rulings. The safest way to describe White's statement is exactly what it is, a prediction. Still, the timing makes it impossible to ignore. Lil Durk's case has already produced a major pretrial win with the severance ruling, while AllStar JR's defense received additional preparation time before trial. Those developments do not prove either man will win, but they explain why supporters are watching closely. So now the real question is not whether Charleston White can predict the future. The question is whether August is about to make his prediction look brilliant or completely wrong. Because if Durk and AllStar JR both walk away without convictions in their respective trials, this clip will suddenly look very different. People will replay every word, search for the date, and ask how he called it before the verdicts. But if either case goes the other direction, that prediction becomes a very different story. Either way, the next few weeks are going to be watched closely, and the courtroom, not social media, will have the final word. Now this is where Charleston White's prediction gets much more interesting, because the calendar is no longer some distant headline. August is here, and the courtroom dates are approaching fast. Lil Durk is scheduled to face a federal jury in Los Angeles on August 20th, while AllStar JR is expected in federal court later in the month. That means White's prediction is about to collide with something much bigger than social media talk, actual trials, actual evidence, and decisions that can change two artists' lives. And if you have been watching rap news closely, you already know the internet loves a prediction. But this one has a serious clock attached to it. Let's start with Durk, because his case has been building for nearly 2 years and has already gone through multiple delays and major legal developments. Federal prosecutors accuse him of participating in an alleged murder-for-hire scheme connected to the 2022 shooting involving Quando Rondo and the death of Rondo's cousin, Xavier Robinson. Durk has pleaded not guilty, and the government still has to prove its allegations in court. What makes the upcoming trial especially complicated is that a judge previously granted a motion to sever some counts, meaning certain allegations were separated from the charges scheduled for the August proceeding. That is an important legal development, but do not confuse severance with dismissal. The charges that were separated have not simply disappeared. Now imagine watching that situation through the lens of Charleston White's prediction. He is not saying, maybe they have a chance. He is confidently saying both men will beat their cases. That is the kind of statement that immediately grabs attention because most people looking at federal criminal cases do not speak with that level of certainty. But confidence is not evidence, and prediction is not a verdict. That distinction matters. We can discuss the legal developments, we can examine the allegations, and we can analyze what each side is arguing, but nobody watching from outside that courtroom can honestly guarantee the outcome before the jury hears the evidence. And then you have AllStar JR, whose case has taken a completely different route. Prosecutors have accused him in connection with the Houston restaurant shooting involving NBA Ben 10. Reporting on the case says investigators allege JR picked up a firearm during the confrontation and opened fire. Those allegations are extremely serious, but again, they remain allegations until proven in court. JR has his own defense, his own legal strategy, and his own opportunity to challenge the government's case. His federal trial is scheduled for August 31st, putting his courtroom battle just 11 days after Durk's scheduled trial begins. Think about that timing for a second. 2 high-profile rap cases, 2 separate courtrooms, and both arriving within the same month. That timing is exactly why this story has the potential to explode across social media. If Durk's trial produces an unexpected ruling, people will immediately connect it to White's prediction. If a witness testimony creates a surprise, the conversation will change again. If prosecutors struggle to establish an essential element of the case, supporters will call it a turning point. And if the defense lands a major blow, you can expect clips and commentary to spread almost instantly. The same thing applies to AllStar JR. One courtroom moment can become a viral headline before most people have even read the actual court documents. But here is the twist that deserves more attention. The biggest story may not be whether Charleston White is right. It may be how people react if the cases do not unfold the way they expect. Social media has a habit of turning complicated legal proceedings into simple winners and losers. Real trials are rarely that simple. Lawyers fight over evidence. Judges make rulings. Witnesses are questioned. Prosecutors have burdens they must meet. Defense attorneys attack weaknesses in the government's case. And juries have to evaluate what they hear. A person can look confident online and still face serious legal risk inside a courtroom. That is why I would watch the next few weeks very carefully. Not because somebody on the internet has guaranteed an outcome, but because the dates are real and the stakes are enormous. Durk's case has already generated major legal developments, while AllStar Jr.'s case has attracted intense attention because of the allegations surrounding the Houston shooting. Both defendants remain entitled to the presumption of innocence, and neither should be described as guilty unless a court establishes that through the legal process. At the same time, Charleston White has now placed a very specific prediction into the public conversation. Both men will beat their cases this month. The stakes are enormous, and the courtroom, not social media, will determine what happens next. Now let's get into the question everybody is asking. Why would Charleston White be so confident that Lil Durk and AllStar Jr. can both walk away from their cases this month? If you only look at the headlines, you might think these are simple cases with obvious outcomes. They are not. Both defendants face serious federal proceedings, but the evidence and legal strategies are different. That difference is exactly why you have to be careful before turning a prediction into a fact. With Lil Durk, understand that the courtroom battle is not simply about what people have seen on social media. Federal prosecutors accuse him of directing or financing an alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo, an attack that prosecutors say resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin, Xavier Robinson. Durk has pleaded not guilty. The government must convince a jury that the evidence proves the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Prosecutors cannot rely on internet rumors, fan theories, or reputation. They have to connect the evidence to the specific allegations. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. In July, a federal judge granted Durk's request to sever newly added racketeering-related counts from the Los Angeles murder-for-hire trial scheduled for August 20th. That was a meaningful pretrial victory for the defense, even though it was not a dismissal and did not decide whether Durk is guilty or innocent. The additional Chicago-related allegations will be handled separately. For viewers, that distinction might sound technical. Inside federal court, separating allegations can change what evidence jurors are allowed to consider in a specific trial. Now move over to AllStar Jr., because his situation has its own unexpected angle. He is scheduled for a federal trial in Houston on August 31st over an allegation that he possessed a firearm as a convicted felon. Prosecutors say the charge stems from an April shooting inside a Houston restaurant involving NBA Ben 10. Investigators describe a confrontation that allegedly turned violent, and prosecutors say Jr. picked up a firearm during the incident and fired. His defense has emphasized the circumstances surrounding the confrontation, including allegations that he was attacked before the gunfire. These accounts must be tested in court. So when Charleston White predicts that both men will beat their cases, the real question is what he believes could happen inside those courtrooms. Is he expecting weaknesses in the prosecution's evidence? Is he making a bold prediction based on legal developments already visible to the public? Or is this simply Charleston White making a statement so explosive that everybody has to stop and listen? We cannot know his private reasoning unless he explains it himself. We can examine the facts and timing. And the timing is unbelievable. Durk's scheduled trial is August 20th, while AllStar Jr.'s federal trial is scheduled for August 31st. That puts two rap-related federal cases inside an 11-day window. If anything dramatic happens in Durk's courtroom, the internet will immediately react. If the defense wins a major evidentiary ruling, supporters will call it a breakthrough. If prosecutors introduce damaging evidence, critics will say the prediction is collapsing. Then attention shifts to Houston. But here is what I want you to remember before you make up your mind: a legal prediction is not a verdict. Charleston White can be confident. Fans can be confident. Commentators can be confident. None of that replaces a jury's decision. Both men are entitled to the presumption of innocence, and the government carries the burden of proving its allegations. That is the line between entertainment and responsible reporting. Still, you cannot ignore how unusual this setup is. 2 artists, 2 federal cases, 2 August trial dates, and 1 prediction saying both will beat the charges. If that prediction comes true, people will revisit every clip and ask whether White saw something coming before everyone else. If it does not, that prediction could become one of the most debated statements in rap media. Either way, everything could change. So watch the dates, watch the rulings, and most importantly, watch what actually happens in court. Because this story is no longer about what somebody thinks will happen. It is about what the evidence can prove. But there is another layer to this story, because when a prediction like this starts circulating, the audience often focuses on the outcome and forgets the process. Lil Durk and AllStar Jr. are not walking into the same courtroom, facing identical allegations, or relying on identical defenses. Their situations are legally separate. Yet the timing has connected them in the public conversation, and that connection makes Charleston White's prediction powerful. 2 names, 2 federal cases, and 1 month that could produce completely different outcomes from what people expect. For Lil Durk, the pressure is enormous. Prosecutors have accused him of involvement in an alleged murder-for-hire scheme. Durk has pleaded not guilty, and the government still has to prove its allegations beyond a reasonable doubt. That means the court will not be decided by popularity, online arguments, or supporters. The evidence has to survive courtroom scrutiny. Witness testimony can be challenged, documents can be questioned, and arguments can be attacked. Jurors have to decide whether the prosecution has met its burden. That is why the August 20th date matters. It gives the public a concrete moment to watch. Once jury selection and trial proceedings begin, the conversation can move away from rumors and toward testimony and evidence. Every development could change the case. A witness could become central to the prosecution's theory. A defense argument could create reasonable doubt. A judge could make a ruling that changes what jurors hear. None of those possibilities should be treated as predictions, but all explain why this trial has become such a major moment for Durk. Then there is AllStar Jr., whose case carries its own questions. His trial is scheduled for August 31st, and prosecutors accuse him of being a felon in possession of a firearm in connection with a Houston restaurant shooting. The defense has challenged the government's account and highlighted the confrontation surrounding the incident. Those competing versions are what a trial is designed to examine. The public may already have opinions, but a courtroom requires more than an opinion. It requires admissible evidence, credible testimony, legal arguments, and a decision based on the standard required by law. Now put those 2 timelines next to Charleston White's prediction, and you can see why social media will watch every development. If Durk receives a favorable ruling, people will bring up White's statement. If JR gets a favorable development later in the month, the prediction becomes more dramatic. But another possibility exists. One case could go well for the defense while the other does not. That would mean White's prediction was only half right, and the debate could become even louder. Nobody knows the ending yet, and that uncertainty gives this story its tension. There is also a major difference between saying someone could beat a case and saying they will beat a case. The first is analysis. The second is a prediction. Charleston White has chosen the stronger language, and his statement has become highly clickable. But responsible coverage has to keep the line clear. There is no verified evidence establishing that either defendant is guaranteed to win. There is no verdict to point to. Until the courts decide, claims about a guaranteed victory remain speculation. And that may be the most fascinating thing about this. Rap audiences are used to announcements, surprise releases, diss tracks, collaborations, and shocking headlines. But a courtroom does not follow entertainment rules. A judge is not trying to create a viral moment. A jury is not looking for a social media narrative. Lawyers are dealing with evidence, procedure, and the law. That contrast makes this story bigger than celebrity news. So when you hear that Charleston White believes both men will beat their cases, do not treat it as a leaked outcome. Treat it as a prediction with a deadline. August will test it. Durk's courtroom battle arrives first, and JR's follows near the end of the month. Every ruling and major development could shift the conversation. If both men avoid convictions, White's prediction will look extraordinary. If they do not, it will show how quickly confidence can collide with reality. Either way, no matter how the headlines spin it, the only ending that counts is the one determined through the legal process, not online speculation alone. Now I want to hear from you, because this is where the story gets really interesting. Charleston White is predicting that both Lil Durk and AllStar JR will beat their federal cases this month. But do you actually believe that prediction? Are we looking at two defendants who could surprise everybody in court? Or is social media turning a bold opinion into something much bigger than it really is? Lil Durk's case has already produced major legal developments, and his scheduled trial is approaching. AllStar JR has his own federal case moving toward trial later this month. Neither outcome has been decided, and neither man should be treated as guilty before the courts reach a verdict. But that uncertainty is exactly what makes these cases so fascinating to watch. So I want your honest opinion. Who do you think has the better chance of beating their case, Lil Durk, AllStar JR, both of them, or either? Drop your prediction in the comments, because once the courtroom action begins, everybody is going to have an opinion. And if Charleston White somehow gets this exactly right, remember where you heard the prediction first. If he gets it wrong, that will be a story too. Either way, August could completely change the conversation around both cases. Hit the like button if you want more updates without the unnecessary internet noise, subscribe for the next development, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the courtroom updates when they happen. Most importantly, keep the conversation respectful and stick to verified information. These are real people facing real legal consequences, and the final word belongs to the court. So tell me right now, is Charleston White onto something, or is this one prediction about to age badly?